bloody fantastic.
Hello everyone, my name is Goodboy and welcome to a video on how to counterpick Juggernaut in the current meta. Juggernaut is proving to be one of the most successful heroes in terms of win rate, particularly in the pub scene and especially in the low skill brackets, but he's good across the brackets, by the way. That's not just low skill, he's good across the board. And can be a bit of a nightmare from hell to deal with. And so I thought I'd do you a nice little video on how to deal with that. So the first thing I wanted to look at was actually the change log, and the biggest fundamental thing since 7.20, before they started nerfing everything again, was how they reworked Omnislash. So Omnislash has changed. So how Omnislash used to be was simple ticks of physical damage between a certain damage range. I think it was 150 to 250. You get, and it would be dealt for every single tick, which is fine in the early to mid game, but as you scaled into the late game, it wasn't actually that effective. So they reworked it, and now. All he does instead, he does a very similar thing, but he slashes all the nearby enemy units with an increased attack rate, and becomes invulnerable during the duration. So what this basically means is now his damage is based on his current attack speed and also his current attack damage. So if you've got a Divine Rapier carrying Juggernaut and he uses Omnislash, that deals terrific levels of damage to the entire enemy team. And equally, if he doesn't have any items, it doesn't do as much. But for it, they gave him an attack rate modifier of 1.8. They gave him a bonus attack damage, which was then nerfed from 30, 45, 60 to 30, 40, 50. It has a simple duration, so it's for as long as it runs for. So, in theory, if he has a very high attack speed, he'll attack a lot more times in the same window if we had, compared to when he had a slower attack speed. So it's actually really pretty awesome. So in order to counter him, let's look at his strengths and who they screw over, and then consequently, for like drafting purposes, what you can do to deal with them. So the first one is Blade Fury. This gives him magic immunity and Purge, and this works insanely well against heroes like Zeus, Invoker, Tinker, Phoenix. The Purge ability works quite well on Conquer, Gyrocopter, and CM. So for example, if CM frostbites him, he can still use it and get away. And Conquer, if he tries to X-mark him, he's like, cool, well, I don't care, broken, see you later. So it's a really nice, effective ability. His next great strength is Omnislash. So this is where he can solo kill people. That's pretty insane. And heroes that generally, for example, like to push but by themselves can get really screwed over with him. So for example, also just squishy heroes, so like Zeus, Tinker, do quite badly against it. He can also outscale people in lanes if he can come and get his Battle Fury faster because he farms so effectively in the laning phase. So harder carries like Anti-Mage and Spectre can also be outperformed by him in the laning phase, and particularly if you're shutting down their carries and he's flying away, works quite well. However, I must stress that depends on how your game goes. If you have a kind of average game and they have a good game, then actually those hard carries like Anti-Mage and Spectre will completely outperform Juggernaut and kill him. So important, to take that into account. And then finally, push potential. So again, Tinker, but because of his healing ward, he gives himself lots of regeneration, and then he can, push really, really well against towers and with creep waves. So those are the kind of Juggernaut strengths. He can dish out tremendous levels of damage, but those are kind of mainly the things that he's good at. So first off, we can look at heroes that counter him. And for Blade Fury, the main one is heroes that penetrate immunity. So the worst counter by far is Axe, because Axe does pure damage, which is a big, big problem for someone like Juggernaut, who's not particularly tanky. But also, for example, his taunt goes for magic immunity. So it's like, I don't care what you're doing. You fight me. And he's a tanky hero as well, and he's usually in the off lane, and you usually want to play Juggernaut in the safe lane. So he can be a real pain for Juggernaut. Real pain. So, there is that problem. Legion Commander also penetrates Blade Fury. So if he activates it as a means to escape, and then Legion Commander starts a duel, particularly in like the early or post-laning phase, early game or post-laning phase, Legion Commander does really well as well. So, complete nightmare. Little slide note on instant disables. If you can lock him down long enough before he activates his ability, that works, like Shadow Shaman or Lion with constant hexing and other stuns. But if you don't kill him with those heroes, then he can just get away anyway and doesn't have to care. However, those kind of heroes will put a lot of pressure on him in lane and stop him from getting ahead with his farm, which is kind of what you want. So there is that. Multi-unit heroes will work very nicely against his Omni Slash ability. So heroes like Brood, Visage, Lycan, Meepo, PL, CK, who either produce illusions or who produce, summoned units, whatever, kind of spread the load for Omni Slash, and so in the early to mid game, that kind of is super annoying for a guy. And if he's got like a million illusions from like PL, he probably won't even do any damage using the ability. The other one are escape heroes. So heroes that can blink away. So I mentioned Anti-Mage can blink away for Omni Slash. But also heroes like Weaver, Bounty Hunter and Ricky can all be invisible, and so therefore they don't have to care. Weaver's quite a good hero actually to deal with him. And then finally, in terms of dealing with his push potential due to his healing ward, heroes like Trient and particularly Chen, because remember Chen is also a multi-unit, can generally counter what he's trying to do and then put a lot of pressure on them, and then when he tries to solo kill them he can't because there's 4 of the animals taking the damage for him. So that can work quite nicely. In terms of itemization for countering, well, first looking at Blade Fury, Abyssal Blade, Boots, and Force Staff are on the list. Now, Boots may sound like, what are you talking about? But one of the big advantages of Blade Fury is with Juggernaut's relatively high speed, he can chase you down with his Blade Fury spinning around like crazy, doing all that magic damage to you. So Boots, or even Windlace, that allow you to increase your movement speed, actually keep you generally out of his range, so it's much less effective. As the game progresses, Force Staff will take you out of harm's way, and then towards the late game, if it's still totally annoying, Abyssal Blade, which penetrates magic immunity, it works very, very well on the guy. So this can be really helpful in terms of dealing with him when he's trying to escape. In terms of Omni Slash, there are several items that once again work. Yule Scepter, which takes you out of harm's way while it finishes off his ability, works very nicely, as will Ghost Scepter. Now, Ghost Scepter does not work against Blade Fury, for obvious reasons, because Blade Fury is magic damage, whereas Omni Slash is physical damage. So that's something you must be careful. Don't activate it for that. But equally, against Omni Slash, well, hey. And then you've got Manta Style and for multiple units, and then Silver Edge for escape. So those are the kind of heroes. Obviously, Blink Dagger will not work, because if he jumps on you, you won't be able to activate it and blink away. So you kind of have that sort of thing there. So you can just itemize against him as well if you're very much concerned. You kind of more want to be focusing on the Omni Slash, because that's going to be much more of an issue for you in the late game than Blade Fury is. You just kind of want to play around that. So let's talk about general weaknesses for the guy, and heroes he's generally going to fare against badly because of, how he goes. So he doesn't like high physical damage. Now, yes, fine, he's an agility-based hero, and yes, fine, armor is pretty good, but he's actually quite physically weak. So he doesn't have much health, he's not a particularly tanky hero, so heroes that do high levels of physical damage in quick succession can really mess him up. So Ursa, PA, TA, even Weaver, Drow will all be big problems for the guy. And in clinks, just from physical damage. Now, several of those heroes have other abilities that mess them up as well, which we'll get into in a second. But just from a physical damage point of view, those heroes are going to be a big problem. And you really shouldn't be picking a Juggernaut into an Ursa, that's for sure. Another big weakness for him is Silence or Mana Burn. This is, again, more relevant in the laning phase where it comes out, but it is a problem throughout the game. Silence stops him from escaping with his Blade Fury. It's a very annoying escape mechanism. So a hero like Clinks or Storm Spirit that carry Orchid Malevolences are going to mess him up. So they instantly silenced him, then he takes more physical damage, then they just burst you. And the Clinks is a nightmare in that particular case. But also Doom. Doom just turns up, he's like, boom, there's the Doom. Unlucky, you're not escaping from this party. And then, beats you to death. That's pretty good. Side note also for OD. Again, OD has other mentions in there, but OD can trash your mana pool, so that's worth looking at. Wanted to quickly mention outscaling heroes like Anti-Mage, Spectre, Morphling, Terrorblade, Medusa. These heroes can all outperform Juggernaut successfully, providing their farm isn't interrupted. As I mentioned this before, try and get the balance right. But if you're picking him into the ultimate carry into those, and you don't think you're going to be able to shut them down, that might be a mistake, because they may outscale you. Saving heroes can also be a giant nightmare for him because that ruins most of his abilities. So Winter Wyvern, Dazzle, Oracle, Io, OD, Shadow Demon, all are big problems for him because what they'll do is they'll save the hero the Omni Slash is targeted on and then they survive and that ruins it. Or again for Blade Fury in the laning phase. So big problems there. Finally, I just wanted to end on the the counters, basically, in terms of who you are likely to deal with or come across in the game that are going to be a problem for you. So, heroes that are very popular right now that counter Juggernaut quite well are heroes like Bristleback for his tankiness and massive levels of physical damage. Legion Commander, obviously from dueling purposes. A Faceless Void, who will lock him down. That's a really good one for penetrating his immunity. Axe, which we've already kind of mentioned, and then Phantom Assassin because of those high-level crits. She can jump into your face and then crit you, you're probably going to die. Equally, however, heroes that he counters pretty well right now that are also very popular in the meta are heroes like Zeus, squishy, jumps on him death. Kunkka, he can break free and then jump on him in death, although bring dust to the Shadow Blade. Tinker, again, mentioned before. Drow Ranger, but again, remember, it's who gets the jump on who. If Drow jumps on you, she counters you and you're dead. But equally, if you get the jump on Drow, she dies. So that's kind of like a situational one, so do look out for that one. And then a good one generally is Invoker. But again, with Invoker, you have to be careful because Invoker can do significant levels of physical damage. But generally, because of his spell immunity, when Invoker turns up to lane, particularly in the laning phase, he will just use his magic immunity to escape the damage and then laugh at Invoker's face and then jump on him and kill him. So, there's that kind of thing there as well. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Good luck and good hunting with Juggernaut. Please give the video a like, subscribe and share, and see you soon. Goodbye.